When COVID hit, obviously everybody saw the behavior of so many people, including the church. It just seemed very chaotic. And I remember that moment when people were making, just fast decisions. We're shutting down, this thing's bad. No one knows how intense this virus is. And so I just paused. I got in my prayer closet and I said, Lord, what do you want us to do? He said, keep my lighthouse open. He said, this will be known as America's not just great storm, but great divide. We're going to seek the face of God. If people can't come to the house of God in the midst of chaos, where can they go? And it was really that simple. And then really the strangest thing, something I never thought would occur. One of the Sunday morning services, I go home, I've got a voicemail on the church phone. And the voicemail was from the New Mexico State Police. And the officer said that New Hope Revival Church is non-essential and must shut down.
Hello, this is Officer New Mexico State Police. This is in reference to the New Hope Revival Church. We have a couple of complaints stating that the church is still open and running during church hours. Just to let you guys know that you guys are non-essential and this business should be closed down until further notice, until this epidemic is over and completed with, and until the governor gives orders to reopen.
I felt the spiritual shockwaves of that moment. Like, we have just entered into a whole nother world. The day that the state police calls the church phone demanding we must shut down, and takes it a step further, verbalizes, you're non-essential. I listened to that voicemail, I paused for a moment and thought, okay, we're not shutting this church down. I knew I needed to connect with the sheriff. I knew it was the chief law enforcement of the region. I didn't know what this would look like, amongst the parameters of what was happening, but I knew, hang on here, I'm going to the sheriff.
I was visited by one of the local pastors of the New Hope Revival Church.
I said, Sheriff, told him who I was, though we probably know who we are from the community, and I said, I just received a voicemail from the New Mexico State Police, says the New Hope Revival Church is non-essential and must shut down.
I'd never forget it, because he'd come in and he said, Sheriff, I've been watching you sheriffs, specifically you, over the past couple of years, he said, and you guys have taken really hard stances in protecting our Second Amendment rights that are under attack in Santa Fe.
And I said, listen, I saw 29 sheriffs stand for gun rights. I want to know if you'll stand for God rights. And he looked me right in the eyes and he goes, Pastor, I will defend you, even if it means I got to go to jail myself.
And of course, being a student of the Constitution, it was, it's a complete document. The Bill of Rights is put in there because it's not just one that you pick and choose, and tomorrow we don't care about this one. I said I take the whole document completely serious.
We're ready to go to war. I've got the sheriff. I don't know what this looks like. I don't know if the state police are coming back next week, but all I know is this sheriff just told me that he's willing to go to jail for the Constitution. And I knew at that moment I'm actually dealing with a real constitutional sheriff that's willing to wear a pair of handcuffs.
I told him I'd be in touch with him, and I would come up with something. We're not going to shut our churches down.
It was interesting because, he came just like he's going to work any other day, cowboy hat, gun on his side, badge, and he said, Pastor, I'd like to address the congregation. I'm going to equip you on your constitutional rights, the stance, the God-given rights that you have to freely assemble. If any tyrannical governor or government seeks to trample on your rights, you need to know that I'm going to be that barrier between the government and the rights of this church. We started seeing the New Mexico State Police kind of, waiting outside the door. They weren't messing with the service. They didn't do anything like that, but then they'd pull in and the sheriff's there. He's guarding the door. He really was. He was going to be that barrier. So a few Sundays in a row, he keeps coming. He's standing by the door. New Mexico State Police, there they are, thinking, okay, we're going to engage in something. The sheriff's standing there, and What I loved about our sheriff is he was really looking for a peaceful solution. He was not looking for a place of conflict.
So I'd actually set a meeting with the state police, and we actually had met at the New Hope Revival Church.
And he called a meeting. He said, I want to have a meeting with the New Mexico State Police, myself. I believe it was the captain, or he looks at me and goes, now give us your opinion. And I said to him, I go, while y'all spend your career, I know you took an oath of office to defend the rights under the Constitution, defend my rights, but while you spend your career listening to this governor and obeying these mandates, I said the only thing worse than someone dying of COVID-19 is that they die of COVID-19 without Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, and they burn in hell for eternity.
It allowed the pastors in the community to lay out their objections to this and lay out their case for it. Allowed the state police to lay out their case. And unfortunately, we're state police officers. It's the governor's order. We work for the governor. Our jobs are contingent and dependent upon it. And so we've got to do it.
Obviously, we didn't see eye to eye. The governor had said, go shut this church down, basically, or at least serve them or cite them and let that progress into something else. I just made it clear, I will not shut this church down. We will remain open.
So we knew that it was just going to be a situation where we agreed to disagree and essentially told him, I've got this. For the most part, state police are here to assist on anything that we need assistance with. But I told him on this one here, we've got it. Just go ahead and back off.
But that next Sunday, within a couple of weeks, I'm preaching on a Sunday morning, and I see the state police car through the glass doors.
So about a week later, they got word. They had a couple of state police officers that were parked across the street from the church.
They pulled in here, and there's still that sense of, it felt like harassment. They got a call. We're open, Obviously, we didn't. There's not an end to this. We had our conversation. We know we don't see eye to eye, but we thought we might have found a place of at least agreement. I'm not shutting down, and they need to consider at least the rights of the church.
So the minute that happened, I knew it was desperate times call for desperate actions. And I'd remembered getting to attend KrisAnne Hall seminar in Albuquerque, and she had talked about the Shire Reeves.
And that next Sunday morning,
New Mexico law specifically recognizes that the sheriff has the right, under situations where there's an emergency that's been declared.
I don't know, I don't think anybody knew. It was just something God had put inside of our sheriff.
To deputize members of the community if necessary.
And he deputized our entire church.